Well, we're back again. I'm a new shade of blue, and I have another project for you guys. I said last time I would do something more personal. If you recall, last time it was that Marvel character redesign, Trailblazer. This time it's a personal character of mine. I made this sketch a while back, and I decided to import it into the Photoshop program. This time I wanted to work on my coloring and my line work. I'm not very confident when it comes to my inking ability. I do my best to avoid the hairy line. You know, when you go over the same line over and over again, like instead of making one solid stroke, you make a dozen small strokes. It's a hard habit to get over, but I'm working on it. As you can see throughout this process, I have stroked over and over again, and just looking for that perfect line. And trust me, that's what you're supposed to do. It gets pretty frustrating sometimes, but I think one of the benefits of recording myself as I do these things is that it kind of forces me to keep going. Like, I think normally I would, when I get frustrated, I would just take a break and come back to it at 15, 20 minutes, half an hour later. I kind of like the feeling of just sticking with it for, a full 2 hours and at least getting some results. Talking over these videos is actually pretty difficult for me. As you can hear, I tend to stutter a lot. I don't know what the next thing I should say should be. I think this time I'm going to try to I'm just going to keep this in there. Because honestly, editing this is a pretty daunting prospect, and I think that's why it took me so long to get this video out. I drew this last week, and I'm just recording the audio for it now. And who knows when it'll be when I upload it. I gotta add the music and whatnot. Because I care about production quality. In regards to my character design, to, I guess, get back on topic, I was just trying to design a cute girl. I tried to keep it with my... what you're seeing here is my actual art style. Before I was trying to mimic, the standard comic book, typical human anatomy style, but my own style is kind of blockier, I guess you could say. I like the style where my art style is basically where the legs and ankles and arms and wrists kind of blend into each other. I'm not really sure when I adopted this style, but one day I just drew it and I said, okay, this is the way I'm going to be drawing these guys from now on. I like the simplicity of it, but also the cool shapes it brings to the table. I admit though, I don't always know how the anatomy should look. How the legs and arms should bend. You're about to see coming up that I really struggle with the hands. But then again, I struggled with the hands when I was doing it the normal way. And they're just a hard thing to do. There's entire classes specifically geared to drawing hands and feet. Did I mention that last time? And that's where a good reference comes in order. I may have jumped the gun bringing that up now, because now I don't know what to talk about when that does come up on screen. Yep, look at me struggle. Another thing I need to work on is my proportions. Yeah, Like, the palm of the hand is supposed to be about the size of your face. And for cartoons, which I prefer to draw, obviously you can change that, but I'll still like to figure out some consistency. I like characters with larger heads and larger eyes, but I don't want to look like a bobblehead, essentially. You know, one thing they don't tell you about art is that it's often about problem solving. You know, everything you draw or every project you take on, there's going to be a new challenge and something you're going to need to think your way around. You know, when I was in art school, it always felt like everybody else had an answer. They knew what they were doing. And I just had to solve a puzzle every time I sat down at the computer. But I came to learn that it's like that for everyone. You know, they're all just everyone's just trying to figure it out, you know, learn their way of doing things. It doesn't make it any less frustrating, but it makes you feel less self-conscious when it happens to you. I remember when I was in school, I was practically begging my teachers to please tell me what I was good at, because I wasn't particularly great at anything. I didn't have a specialty. I was just trying to figure out how to do the basics. Yeah, I was a graduate student and I was still learning how to do the basics. Honestly, I'm still learning how to do the basics. One of the professors was a Disney animator for like 13 years. And he says he still practices every day because if he doesn't, he'll forget how to do most of this stuff. Yeah, so art is hard. Gotta stay on your game. Personally, I look up tutorials a lot. You know, see how other people solve these problems, practice their skills, try to apply it. It's a lot like looking up reference when you think about it. Now, speaking of which, if you're wondering how I'm doing this, I'm basically watching the recording of myself, drawing, and making this narration along with it. Yeah, I'm coming up with something here. Yeah, see, it still bothers me. That hand is just too narrow in comparison with the other one. Eventually, I figured something out, but for the most part, it was okay. I have to stop now. This will do. And also, that's also a big part of the art world. Sometimes you just gotta finish it. There's this story about an animator that kind of became a cautionary tale. He was trying to complete his dream project. It was called The Princess and the Cobbler, I believe. Yeah, it was supposed to be his masterpiece. And he basically spent the remainder of his life trying to finish it, and never did, unfortunately. He passed away before it was complete. And the studio, since they already spent this much work on it, tried to, basically complete it themselves with what they had left over. It wasn't anywhere close to the guy's original vision, but honestly, if he hadn't, who knows when he was releasing it, when he would have released it if he hadn't suddenly departed this world. I had a teacher from SCAD who was an animator for that project. He said it was a nightmare to work on. like they weren't even allowed lunch breaks. I guess those are the kind of projects I'm afraid of getting involved with when I'm officially in the industry. I'm technically an animator now. I'm a freelancer. I mean, when I basically get a desk job, if that makes sense. You know, when I'm in the building, I get paid regularly. I'm not running around different projects trying to scrounge up some cash. I just hope my coworkers are nice. I do not handle drama well. Unless you count avoiding it as handling it well. Okay, back to this drawing for a moment. I said I wanted to work on my painting. Here I go. I imported this desert palette here, and you can see why. For starters, it takes out a lot of the guesswork. And also, the colors are, well, I guess they're in harmony. You know, the colors go together. They don't clash. When starting off with colors, that's a big mistake a lot of people make at first. They just want to throw their favorite colors on there, and they don't really know how it's gonna work together. You know, the hue and saturation. So coming up with a palette like this will remove the guesswork and make the flow a lot easier. If you're wondering what's up with the yellow, basically I can now not draw outside of the lines. Yeah, I like to work with a lot of different layers. I mean, some people can just have this base layer and then just put all the other colors on top of that. But I just like to separate my colors. That way I don't have to worry about drawing over or under or anything. Yeah. Sketch, line work, color base. Then color. Then break up the body parts actually. Skin, sweater, hair, eyes. It might come from the way I animate. I'm a puppet animator, so therefore we animate with a bunch of symbols around. You might also call it cutout animation. You break up each individual body part that's gonna move with its own color, its own name. You know, where it fits on the body, what goes over it, what goes under it. I guess that just appeals to me, keeps things simple. How do you guys like the music? I mean, would you prefer this just be all music and I keep my mouth shut? Not many people watch these at the moment. Yeah, I think at best they get about 4 views, which I really appreciate. I'm not really sure what I want to do with these videos just yet. It's more of an exercise for me so I can keep making stuff. It's not really a tutorial kind of thing. But if there's one thing I want to show you guys, it's that it's okay to make mistakes. You saw a lot of my flaws there if you were paying attention. Maybe it went by too fast, but you can tell that there was a lot of trial and error involved. And it still came out looking pretty cool. At least I hope you think it did. But this is where I'll sign off now. Until next time, a new shade of blue, and I'm tooting out.